Good morning, humanity. It's June 17th, 2017. And again, this is Mondays with Bev and Paul. And hi, my name's Paul.
Hi, I'm Bev. How are you?
I'm fine. How are you?
I'm good.
Question is, how are you today?
Yeah.
We hope you're doing well after your Father's Day, or if you had birthdays, or if you had nothing.
Just if you had a day.
If you had a day. Because we have a wonderful day today with our question of the day. What does it cost to learn BioTouch?
I'm sure we're going to have some good answers.
We do. So, one of those answers was sort of in the book that Deborah wrote, BioTouch, Healing with the Power in Our Fingertips. And I think it'll be sort of a good place to start. We were talking about it. She goes, another question people ask is, why don't we charge for our services here at the center, Paul said, leaning his elbows on the desktop and interlacing his fingers. They caution me about the value of something becoming underrated when it's simply given away. So what's your answer? Why don't we charge? Asked Deborah. Paul smiled, his cobalt eyes glistening in their sockets. Oh, cobalt eyes.
Cobalt.
Because we can't charge people for the truth. I stared at him. Whoa, what does that mean exactly? There's one truth that resides within each of us, he answered. It's our birthright. No one can charge us to obtain that truth. It's already ours. BioTouch is like truth. Our capacity to heal is within each of us. We have a birthright to be happy and healthy. So how can we charge for that?
Good question.
It is. It is a good question.
Yeah.
And, it's sort of like people always say, well, why don't you charge for, that's at our center. And, it all started with that first time I met Norman.
I know. Yeah.
And, hi, Charlotte.
Hi,
Julie.
Hi, Julie.
And meeting Norman, who didn't have a telephone, Carol, and they're in this little town in Mancos, Colorado. And I would go up there and hang out with them. And I remember the very first time after asking them these questions, well, what'd you do? I don't know. Well, what should I expect? Whatever. Yeah.
Wow.
Should I come back? If you want. And finally the last kicker was, so what do I owe you? And they were like, no, we don't charge.
Wow. There's a novel idea.
And people, and it was, to me, it was like, oh my gosh, here's healing work and they're not charging. So people would leave $20 in a flower bed, or, a can of coffee under the bed, a pack of cigarettes under the pillow. People would bring food. And not only did they not charge, they discouraged people. And when that old timer said Norman and Carol brought love to the Mancos Valley, it just sort of kicked in things I'd believed most of my young adult life, from my 20s on, and even before. It was like, how could you charge people for spiritual ideals, for love, for truth?
I know.
Yeah, and it just was like, here it was the manifestation of that. Whenever I would do yoga classes or, all kinds of things, I would say, no, I can't pay you for this. So I would trade or things. But, here it was, something being given to people from the goodness of your heart because you had it and you knew it belonged to everyone.
As you're sitting here talking, a thought came to me. So this exchange of currency or money, when we feel that we have to charge for everything, that's really a separative act. When you give something from yourself, and when you give access to BioTouch, that's inclusive, isn't it? From heart to heart, that's inclusive.
Yes. And it's inclusive because it's like we own it. I just can't. I don't even know if I can get this across.
I know it's already there, right?
It's not,
in each of us.
Yeah, and I got inspired by this by watching some energy modality on some YouTube thing, and they gave you 3 free things that you could do, of which I'm going to test that energy. They did muscle testing, and then they did all these gyrations, and I'm like, BioTouch can do the same thing. And then you go through these free ones, and then you get to the end of it, and it's like, well, if you want the other 7, it's going to cost you $3.99.
But that's on sale.
Yeah, that was on sale. It was
What
65% off their $1,000 plan. And I was just like, I get it. People need to earn a living. People need to make money, and yet we wanted to create an organization that could trust,
Mm-hmm.
that would be volunteer about offering a service to humanity that was of importance to humanity.
Right.
And giving it back to humanity. This is not ours. We don't own this technique.
It's based on the birthright that we keep talking about.
Yes.
That's what it's really based on. It's not based on making money. It's based on the realization, the acknowledgement from all of us that our inherent right, just by being on this planet, is the right to health and happiness and love.
Right. It's interesting because this YouTube I saw, they were saying that. Energy, you have it, you have happiness, it's within you. You can't go get it, you can't seek it. How can you seek something that's already there?
Right.
You just have to relax into it. And yet then they have this big price at the end. And then we saw that one video once, it was, demanding that energy healers charge because you'd get drained if you keep giving. Well, you get drained if you open that up and say, I'm giving this away, but then you have expectations.
Yeah.
Well, you're not giving me enough. And we just don't have that belief system here.
What's enough anyway?
Right.
Like I was saying, there's a great old ancient axiom: the more you give, the more you will receive.
Right.
Think about that. It's like this unending well of abundance. That's what's already in us to give.
And it's about trust in that.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's about actually learning to live simply. It's not about whether or not I need this bill paid or that bill paid. If I'm living simply, if I'm living the way that I need to, then I will be given everything I need to meet that need.
Mm-hmm.
And if I get tested in that, if I get anxious, then I'm not believing in that trust. I'm not believing in that I will be taken care of because I have a different desire. So then I would have to charge because I'd have a certain budget that I need to meet. But with the foundation being created the way it has, we're all volunteers. Nobody's being paid for this.
No. And I've said to you a couple times, I think the future are these nonprofits, especially because we know there's many groups now who are holding higher thinking about what they're doing, how they're serving in the world. So, I think as we go along, we're going to start trusting more, serving more, caring about each other more. And I just want to say this before we move on. When you were talking a few minutes ago about, living simply and stuff, isn't this what BioTouch is here to help with? That whole self-awareness of BioTouch opens us up to trusting. It opens us up to just maybe thinking differently about how we're living our lives, more simply, more closer to, who we are innately.
And that has nothing to do with your wealth. You could be a billionaire or you could be someone who barely can pay for their food. It's about whatever station in life I have. We're not saying everybody pool all their money into the pot. What we're saying is everybody has that right to be healthy, happy, and loved. It's part of our innate nature.
Yes, and what we're also saying is health is wealth.
Right. So, the ditch digger and the plumber is worth it just as much as the lawyer, or the politician. And therefore, this healing technique we call BioTouch is for everyone. And all it takes is doing it. That's the cost. So there's nothing, we have minimal fees for some of our programs, like to get the entire manual with the DVD, with links to the video, $18 membership fee.
I know.
And like we've always said, though, if you really don't have $18, we'll send it to you. It's our goal is to get this into your home, into your life.
We're walking the talk on that one. I really believe that.
So, we depend on donations to run the organization. And for 30 years, we've been able to do that because the truth of the technique is it works. Yeah. And it's easy to go online. You go to justtouch.com. There's a little link over on the right. and it says, get the first 10 pages for free. Get a preview of it.
Mhm.
And what do you learn? The greeting. And I've been testing this thing with what I learned on this energy, program, and where you do muscle testing.
Mhm.
And I tested the muscle, and then I had people think of a stressful thought. And then I just did the greeting, and I did A&A, which we're going to show here. And the muscle got strong.
I know.
Even thinking about that stressful
Just
situation.
thinking about it, it happens.
And Kenneth Stevenson proved it clinically that BioTouch breaks the stress cycle.
Yes.
Just with a 30-second free touch one another, and that will break the stress cycle. Now, when you start moving into digestive situations, lung situations, metabolic situations, we have other sets of points. But again, those are easily done if you just read the manual. And they don't really cost you anything because you take these with you.
Yeah.
And you don't have to go to an expert. That's a lot of the teaching out there because you are the expert.
You are the expert.
So, oh, good morning, Pain Relief Depot.
Oh, hello.
Chiara.
Yeah.
So, the classes we have charges for, again, minimal charges on that. So what does it cost to learn? It depends what kind of help you need with it. So if you just want to learn it like Rose did.
Yeah, right.
Rose, her husband had 2 strokes, was it?
Yep.
10, 15 years ago or something?
Yeah, I think
like
2011.
Yeah. And they tried numerous things,
Yeah.
acupuncture, other kinds of work. And finally they had plateaued, and she was just searching the web and found BioTouch, looked it up, did the first 10 pages for free, and went, well, this is doable. And for $18, I can't say no.
Why not?
So she downloaded it, started it doing on him, and what's it been, a year and a half later?
Wow. She's continuously just blows us away. She's getting ready to do some more blogs, so come on, Rose.
And that's what it's about, just simple things like that, just getting BioTouch into the hands of the people. So then once you've got it, you pass it on. Pass it on to your friends and your family. And there's numerous ways to do that with the book that Deborah wrote, Healing with the Power in Our Fingertips, our manual DVD, whether it's the ebook version or if you need the hard copy. So there are numerous ways to learn it like that.
I know. Just to remind everybody too, one of the great benefits of BioTouch is that your body gets better. Excuse me, but on all other levels, like Rose, I'm thinking about Larry and Rose right now. Their lives have totally changed in so many other ways. Not just Larry getting better, but their whole lives changing, their relationship changing. It goes on and on. It's just exciting.
So what does it cost to learn BioTouch? So we say nothing, and then at the same time we say it costs you your life. So while Bev's getting her voice back, unless you want to read it.
Oh, you're good. Okay. Go ahead and read today.
In our manual, it says this. It says, with a simple intent to help one's fellow human beings and proper instruction, assistance may be initiated by any individual. No special talent is required to be effective. Everyone, because of their inherent love and compassion for those who are suffering, can perform these methods without limitation. Everyone who is capable of understanding how to locate the few points described in this manual is qualified to participate in the healing process.
So basically what it cost you is some precious time spent with another human being helping them. That's the cost?
That's it. That's the cost, folks.
Okay.
Just take a moment. And again, that moment could be 30 seconds. 30 seconds. And that would start a healing process. So what we always want, and we were talking about if you want to write this there too, it's like, why do we feel that what was the question? That you had to pay for things to be worthwhile.
Well, yeah, that in order for something to be legitimate, you've got to pay big bucks for it. Why is that mentality so prevalent in our society right now? Like, well, if it's free, I guess it has no worth.
Right, because
Wow.
we've been told that a long time. If you don't put a dollar amount on it, Paul, it's not worth anything to people.
I don't get that.
But we've tried it a different way. The worth is in the doing of the technique.
Yeah.
The worth is about practicing an application of love thy neighbor. There's no greater worth than that. You can't put a price on that. So we ask people to leave a contribution of what it's worth to them to help us keep the doors open.
Right.
That's a very difficult concept, but we stick by it. 30 years we've stuck by that concept, and we're still in existence. So one of the things we always like to do is make sure you learn a technique.
Mm-hmm.
So if you want the greeting, download that from our website. And then if you just do this ANA, and again, I've tested this with 4 people so far with muscle testing, doing the greeting and doing what we're going to share with you here, just ANA will reduce a stressful thought pattern that you have. So here's our manual, and we'll just do the A and A.
The headset can be used to address conditions related to the brain. There are 4 steps in this set. In step 1, use through fire to touch points A and A. Point A on the back of the head is in the center of the neck at the base of the skull. Point A on the front of the head is at the center of the forehead, where the forehead begins to curve to the crown. Step 2.
Boom.
I know.
That's it.
That's it.
A and A. So I did some testing, this thing I had learned yesterday where somebody holds their hand out, you press down, see how strong they are. Then you have them think of a stressful situation and they can't hold their hand up. We might practice that on the show one time. And then did the greeting and did A and A. Had them think of a stressful situation and the arm was strong.
Resistance. Yeah.
So that's how simple it is. The greeting and A&A, just to get started. What does it cost to do that? Nothing. Replay this for the A&A, download the manual with the greeting. That costs you nothing, just your time. So we're here to keep teaching you that. We go over it and over it and over it. And we have a great workshop coming up, don't we?
Oh, we really do. I know a lot of people are interested in coming to this.
With John Abraham. He's an Episcopal priest, a thanatologist. Do you all know what that is? The science of death. And an author and a founder of numerous hospice programs. He was actually starting hospice programs in the 70s when they first started doing hospice.
Very innovative thinker, huh?
So we are really honored and privileged to have John with us. So if you are going to be in Tucson, come on by at 6 p.m. Otherwise, we will be live streaming it and then posting it after. I think it's going to be just a great workshop.
It's going to be. I just had somebody yesterday tell me they're going to be here.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So hopefully it'll be packed so we can support John, we can support Learning BioTouch, and we can support you out there in Learning BioTouch.
I know. Well, that's what we're doing here.
Yes. So anything else you'd like to say to us or everybody
I'd
out
just
there?
like to say to everybody, thank you for joining us today. We love you, and
keep on touching, folks. We'll see you all next week.
Yes, we will.
If pain has got you down and you live in town, take a trip down to Pima Street. The people down there are people who care. They will get you back on your feet. Put love into action. Put love into action. If you ever want to have any real satisfaction, choose love while you still can. Don't even try to understand.